welcome to a special episode of IT Pro TV. I say an episode, this is really just a special little segment we're doing as part of our project management professional training. In the PMP show, we're doing a mock project, kind of a fun one for us, on building a video game arcade cabinet, and this is our requirements meeting. So I've got our team together here. These are our main project team members, and we're going to be evaluating what needs to go down. And so this is a great example of how a requirements gathering meeting occurs and what we're going to do. So I'm the project manager for the project, so I'm going to kick it off and say thanks, guys, for showing up today for the meeting that you were required to attend.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome down.
You attended like your job depended on it, which it of course did. So let me just recap. In our first meeting, which was very impromptu between Ronnie and I, and me yelling at Nate offset, we came up with just a basic set of requirements for this arcade cabinet. So what we wanted to have, and I've got it pulled up right here. We basically said that we wanted a custom-built wooden cabinet. You know, didn't necessarily have to be custom, but it's kind of the fun part of the project to actually build it. So custom-built wooden cabinet. It must support up to 4 players, right? Because you could skimp and go 1 or 2. It's going to be an upright traditional cabinet, not a sit-down cocktail. Yep. It'll contain a PC, so you got to have something to drive the video games on it. And it will have joystick and trackball support.
Nice.
So that you can play Galaga. And then, well, if we can find a public domain Galaga, because that's one of our risks.
Galaxia.
Right.
And Galaxia. And then it must create an arcade-like feel, so the overall experience should be like what we had growing up going to Aladdin's Castle.
It'll randomly eat quarters.
Yes. That's right. We'll stick a do not out of order sign in front of it once a week, and that'll be it. We'll have to get a screen for it that's kind of washed out. All right, so these were really high-level requirements. They were good enough for our charter. But now we're in the planning phase, and so we need to revisit these requirements, kind of break them down a little bit more to get a better understanding of what we're actually going to need to get this thing done. And this is going to be our first pass at it. So we might have to revisit this again before it's all said and done when we do our work breakdown structure. But for right now, I just want to think about these and really come up with what our true requirements are going to be. All right? So, so we've got this kind of simple template that I use here with the requirement, and these are kind of some generic things. Now, some of these are not totally valuable to me as far as our project, and every project's a little bit different. So I'm going to adjust some of this for right now, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to split some of this off into another document. So let me just move down here, and what I want to do is have a nice big column here for a description, and then I'll integrate this into the document a little bit more later on, okay? So that way we've got plenty of room to discuss it. So, custom-built wooden cabinet, all right? Now, the source for a lot of these I can fill out right now was Nate, right? So Nathan Copeland, who originated the project. So you said that it should support 4 players, the upright cabinet, contains a PC, joystick and trackball support. Most of this came from you, all right? As far as priorities and categories, we're going to need to break that down. So let's just start off right here with that custom-built wooden cabinet. What does that really entail when we say a custom-built wooden cabinet?
But something to put buttons in that has a monitor that we can stand at and play games.
All right. And you did some research, and I believe you found some plans, right?
Correct.
So you have those handy? Is that what you got right here?
Well, not the printout of the plans, but just the printout of the list of items.
Okay. And what you did is you found that online. Do you remember the site? It's nice. Talking Octopuses MAME cabinet. All right. There we go. Okay. So here's a gentleman who has already done this, right? Who's kind of gone through the process, and so this is going to be one of our sources, organizational process assets, right? So we found somebody else has already done this, so we're benefiting from other industry knowledge that's out there, and so he's got some designs for how he cut that out of plywood or MDF or whatever it is. Excellent. So we're going to basically steal this guy's design.
Yes, he documented it pretty well, well enough for us. And so rather than spending the time trying reinventing everything, he obviously posted it to share with others, and so we'll base ours off of his.
And it looks like it meets the requirements that we do have the 4 controls and trackball support in there. Just one trackball, or should we do more?
1 to start with.
Okay, one to start with. So so we got one now. You say to start with. Do we need to plan for do we need to leave blanks for future trackballs or?
Well, no.
Okay.
No. Not at this point.
Actually, hang on. I'm trying to think. I'm going back in history in my mind. I can't think of any games that had 2 trackballs. Can you?
I can't think of him either.
I guess like the early Pong tables, the cocktail ones. There were some that had you both had a trackball. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Was
I
that
don't know.
before your
trackball or was
time.
it the turn? I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember the knob.
Well, that was the ones that hooked up to your TV. I'm talking about like Pizza Hut.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know.
All right. Well, okay. So it may be that we never do add a second trackball.
No.
Now, if we were to make any modifications to it, we could add a set of light guns for House of the Dead.
Oh,
But through the reading, just the optical sensor for it was $150.
Oh.
Ooh, that's a lot. And I
Yeah.
don't know that we can get a licensed copy of House of the Dead. Do they sell that for PC?
The Wii.
Could we stick a Wii inside the cabinet? Well, all right. So maybe we'll put that as like a stretch goal. All right. So in our requirements list, all right, I'm going to put multiple trackball and light gun support.
Yeah.
Right? I think I'm spelling that right. And what I'm going to do is, our source column is really going to lack in value in this project, isn't it? Because the source of most of this stuff is going to be, you get the
Your
vision for this
childhood
thing.
dreams.
Oh, it is.
And it's his birthday. We should
But we'll-
let it go.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. But what I'm going to do is under category, I'm going to put light gun support down as an optional entry and multiple trackball support. Same thing. If we can do them, great. But if we can't do those, the project's still a success. So these are our kind of stretch goals. And up here we've got joystick and trackball support. I'm going to knock out trackball support, and I'm going to put joystick. Or actually, we need to have at least one. And so
And I think the trackball will also double as our mouse as we navigate, the underlying platform.
Good point. So I'll put trackball support, and now my numbers are going to be out of sync. So you know what? I'm just going to. Oh, don't do that. I'm just going to blank out these numbers. Well, after we're done, I can always add numbers in to identify things. So
You think you're going to?
I know if it'll let me double click. Apparently, Steve Jobs has decided double clicks are not going to highlight this number for me. There we go.
You need
All
a
right.
command click.
So joystick support though that's a big requirement, right? We got to have joystick support and
Primary.
and the single trackball.
It could go both ways, but it would be easier at this phase than it would be to modify after the fact.
Let's go primary on that one. All right, some of these other ones that we've got here. So back to the custom built wooden cabinet. We found some plans, right? And I'm going to just grab this URL here. And in the description, I'm going to say using plans from, and I'll stick that URL in there so that we've got it. So here's this guy's charter website that'll definitely be up next week. We probably want to save an offline copy of that because you never know with those. All right, so we've got some plans. And did he go as far as to? Oh my goodness,
Yes.
he did. Look at that parts
This
list.
is everything.
This guy's awesome.
Yes.
We need to send him a thank you note. So if we didn't have this information, we would have to come up with this parts
Yeah.
list as part of our requirements. These are materials that we're going to need to purchase. They're going to go into the budget and stuff. So, but fortunately, he's telling us everything we need now. Rob,
Yes.
in a past life, you were a carpenter/cabinet builder.
Yes.
And if it weren't for you, we probably wouldn't undertake this project.
That's true.
So because you've got that technical expertise.
Okay.
And I'm guessing that you probably have most of this stuff, don't you?
Most of those drill bits and all that stuff I do have, and the glue, just the sheet goods and the wood material, and probably some additional screws.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so he used some pine strips, some poplar, casters, that's kind of stuff that we'll probably need to get. But yeah, most of this is pretty straightforward. All right. So we've got our hardware listed, and I'm tying into that here. So I don't want to go too crazy detail here on this page. I can always get that later from my other documentation, but for right now I can refer back to this page. for the cabinet design. All right, now custom overlays. Do we need to do custom overlays?
You know, I was thinking about it, and you know, we could always go the route of like vinyl wraps, because vinyl wraps are pretty inexpensive, rather than going to like a print shop and getting something like this up. And it's also something that can be made after the fact, because we will paint the cabinet all one color, and then we'll either put on graphics with the with like Lexan or acrylic on top of it, or you know, if somebody is really artistic, then they can do like some pinstriping.
Rob, can you paint MDF? Is it like particle board where it looks all grainy?
Oh, does it look grainy? No, it's pretty smooth.
Is it? So we could just paint it and.
A lot of kitchen cabinets or doors are made out of MDF. It's very
Nice.
So do we, as a part of this project, do we want to incorporate overlay art, or do we want to just be happy with painting it one color and being done with it?
I think we need to try to incorporate overlay art.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, this is a decision that we have to make. Is we could always have Project 2.0, something that you can do after the fact as a separate project. But if we can do it now, you know, why bother painting the cabinet when we could have just stuck overlays on it? And I don't know about these. These are a little on the hokey side, and I'm sure that's violating somebody's. Well, I don't know. It's like it looks like Pac-Man, but it obviously isn't. So. I
like
wonder,
Whack-Man.
so this is all stuff where it's like reminiscent of.
I see Gambit.
Well, no, it's
Yeah,
definitely
that's clearly Venom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and there's
There's
Yeah.
Captain
Gale from
America
Street
over there on
Fighter
the right.
there.
Well, that and it says
Guile.
Camcom up at the top,
Does it?
Calm.
Does
or
it?
Capcom.
Oh, it does.
Oh,
Okay, I was about to say,
okay.
did they go? Because maybe that's how they get away from the copyright. But no, all right. So I'm not sure if we'd bump into licensing issues on that or not. That'll have to go into our risk assessment later on. But all right, so I'm going to go ahead and add. We'll just insert that in here. So I'm going to put.
Would that not follow? Sorry. Would that? Could you put like, things like graphics in the arcade-like feel, to where it does feel like an arcade machine with the graphics and the whole experience?
Well, you know, let's talk about arcade feel, right? We're kind of jumping all over, but that's fine. Arcade feel is the only one that we have that I can't really quantify. Yeah. It's one of those subjective terms that's going to be really dangerous for us to leave in as a requirement, because at the end of the project, how do you measure that? And we might have where the whole team thinks that, yeah, it's like we're in an arcade, but you go, man, this is lame. This isn't anything like, you know, Dave & Buster's or whatever it is that that you think of. So I'd kind of like to get rid of this requirement and replace it with what you really mean. So when we say an arcade-like feel, I think that you have to have cabinet graphic overlays for that. If you don't, it's not going to look like something in an arcade. But at the same time, you know, we're going to need that cabinet in order for this project to happen, right? So that's a primary one. But the graphics overlay, we might set that as secondary. We're going to try and do it, but if we have to cut something, maybe that'll be one of the first things that we cut, right? So what else would we need to achieve that arcade-like feel?
Authentic arcade controls.
Oh.
So the button has to have that click of an arcade button.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so authentic arcade controls. And a PM who can spell. Controls. All right. So, and in my description here, I'll just say, gee whiz.
Yep, that is important.
All right. Does that mean the joystick has to be like super worn down and not respond half the time?
Well,
or
actually, it has to be able to hold up to a lot of abuse, because those arcade machines were like pretty sturdy.
Now, does he have a picture of his final product? He's got the PCB diagrams and everything. That is this is really
At the very yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, now for an arcade feel, all right. So the embedded TV, that's not a big deal. Do you recess the TV and have a sheet of plexiglass in front of it?
Or is it plexiglass or real glass?
I always thought it was plexiglass.
Yeah, acrylic. I'd say it's like acrylic, because you go into some old arcades and it's all like kind of cloudy from somebody who like scuffed it up or something, or just got that lame glare on it.
So do we recess the TV and cover it like that, or do we just have the TV in there and not, because we're adults? I'll spill my beer on it.
But yeah, I think covering it might be a secondary thing, because I think we're all adults here. I don't think it will get as much use.
Okay.
And you know, with our studio lights, it might create some unwanted glare.
Nice.
So I will add that as maybe, should that be optional or secondary? What do you guys think? So plexiglass screen cover.
Optional.
Apparently not how you spell plexiglass. I have no idea how to spell it then. There we go. So we'll make that one optional. All right, if we can do it, great. You know, it just kind of creates that. So it creates arcade feel. All right. The other thing I noticed here in the picture, this guy is hardcore. He's
Yeah.
got the coin slot operation. Now,
Lock.
I think that it's probably a waste of money to have that
Yeah.
on there. Do they make imitation ones though?
Maybe, perhaps, but that coin door is in our build plans.
Oh.
Is
Or
it really?
It's in our parts list.
Is it just a coin door though? Does it actually have the machine behind it?
It does, but it's not wired. It's a real coin slot door, but we're not going to like wire it into everything with like relays and stuff. But it's a real door that lights up.
We could just have a bucket behind it that collects donations
Now
from
here's-
Jerry's kids or
Here's
something.
where one of Don's requirements starts to come in, right? So let me come down here. I'm going to add a little bit to it. So budget should not exceed $2,000. That is a primary. That has to happen. And then budget should not exceed $1,000. I'm going to make that one. Ooh, do I make it secondary or optional? I'll make it optional because I don't want our project to fail because of it. Oh, am I in the wrong column? Shoot, I am. I've bled into the wrong column. Anyhow, so these are both coming from Don. And so, Nate, do you have any idea of what the cost is on that particular option?
Of what, the coin door?
That seems like, it just seems to me like that would be expensive.
A non-working coin door?
Yeah, it's on here somewhere. It is $99.98.
$100. So I'm going to add that in here. So I'm going to add in to get the arcade feel. I think you need to have that. I just don't know if I'm ready for that expense. Could you put a picture of it on there? So coin slots, right? Or coin slot cover door, coin slot door, whatever it's called. I'm going to put that one in here as secondary, and it cost $100. But creates the arcade feel, right? I need to remember that. And the requirement came from Nate, so it's his vision that we're trying to achieve here. This one was mine. This one came from Rob, and the graphics overlays will say Nate. Okay, all right. So, all right. So there's some things that we just need to keep in mind. Again, we might need to revisit. So, all right, let's double back to the custom-built wooden cabinet. So. I know a lot of those arcade machines were made out of really cheap plywood because they were having overlays stuck on them, right? And if you paint plywood, you can still see that it's plywood, so you really can't paint it. But we're going to use MDF, right?
I think we will use MDF for the most part. If we don't move it around much, then that's probably a good option. It just weighs like 4 times as much as plywood. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think I saw casters in the list, so it's going to have wheels.
Okay.
So there's that. Yeah. So
It's cheaper than plywood.
Is it?
MDF. Oh yeah.
Really, I didn't know that.
What about as far as working with like cutting? Because in here we've got like little T-strips, so you have to cut a groove in there to fit the molding that's going to go on the outside to give those like rolled edges.
It cuts really nice. It's just heavier to work with, so a lot of times it may take 2 people to kind of muscle it through a saw or something like that. But
Do you need a router to cut that? To do the little T?
I mean, I have a router, but
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Problem solved.
okay.
actually I have like
Problem
3
solved.
routers. So
Really?
Wow.
We have Cisco routers. They don't cut wood though. Not very well, at least.
Carbide tip bits.
All right, so Rob, for the custom cabinet, I mean, we're really just talking about wood and glue and screws and your skill set. You feel comfortable with what we've seen here? Or are these plans, as this gentleman has listed them, are these adequate for you? Does he?
Yeah, they look great.
He says he followed somebody else's plans.
Yeah.
Oh, look, this is so thorough. This is
Nice.
really, really impressive. He's got the measurements, supports. Wow, yeah, this is really good stuff right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna add this link because that's just a PDF. Let me add that.
You know, we will need to modify their designs because I believe we'll be going with a 16:9 ratio television, as where this is all centered around a 4:3 CRT or a arcade monitor.
Well, I don't think we should do an arcade monitor because I'm sure that's expensive. A TV or computer monitor would be much less expensive. I don't. Can you buy 4x3s anymore?
You can from the arcade place. They were around $600,
Jeez.
but they came with these shrouds that actually slip into your machine, and it attaches on the outside of it, and they come with bezels too. So it really is a bezels.
Only they came with bezels. Then it would be perfect.
I think they're the same thing. But it was like a drop-in solution. But for $600 for a 4x3 CRT type display, pass that one.
So if we just go with our own, right? Maybe we pick up a refurb TV or something like that and stick it in there. And it's 16:9. You think we can make that bezel, that shroud?
Yeah. You know, like acrylic. Acrylic's easy to work with. We can get different colors of acrylic. We can even
Cut it with a router?
We could cut it. Yes, we can cut it with a router. And acrylic's pretty easy to work with, so I think we could make a pretty sweet bezel.
Okay. All right. So I think we're good there then. So on the equipment, that's going to be part of our materials. We'll have to tackle that a little later when we kind of hammer into our budget and all. By the way, you guys, you've done your research, so let's just kind of requirements aside, just to set me at ease. Really, as far as materials, we got two different things. So we've got the wooden cabinet itself, right? And do we have a ballpark on what the wooden cabinet itself is going to run?
Without the bezel material, I'm going to say $200 for the materials.
Okay. Not including bezel. Totally going to look that up after the show and see how it's actually pronounced.
Oh.
All right, so then there's the electronics, all right, which is going to include the controls, the PC. Now we've already got the PC, so that's kind of handy, so that knocks that out. But we need all the control deck. We need a monitor / TV and the interface cards and stuff, right? So it's all the electronics. Do we have an idea of what the ballpark is on that right now?
Not including the monitor, we're looking around $760. And that includes the coin door and the trackball.
Oh, all right. So that's let me just put that down. Including coin door and trackball.
And I call it the trackball specifically because the trackball is $131.
Ooh. That's a pretty good chunk of the overall budget.
The little clicky buttons, and they are actual real arcade clicky buttons.
All right,
and those run $2 a piece. So the big trackball,
there's 8 per player.
So no golden tee for us.
All right, so I'm putting a note in here on this one, Nate. The trackball, I think, is something that you really want to have for some arcade games, but if push comes to shove, we start pressing our budget at $130. To me, that'll be one of the first things to go. I'm going to demote trackball support from primary to secondary, and we should take a vote on it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to exercise a dictatorship on this decision. It's still secondary. I'm not making it optional, so I want it to get done, and I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine doing that because you said $760. If we add in a monitor, right, which we just bought some studio monitors, and we got them. They were maybe $200 a piece or something. So, and I think those are bigger than what we want here. No?
So those ones were 32-inch, and they are smart TVs. They are full HD. Now, for an arcade machine, we could get away with a dumb TV, and we could get away with a 60 hertz television, a 720p even. We could get like a Scepter or Dynamics.
It's a brand I've never heard of.
Westinghouse.
Sony.
Well, a real off-brand TV because it's not. We don't really need 1080p graphics.
Daewoo. We need a
Kodak
TV.
Makes TVs?
Kodak, they do. All right, so let's just say that we set it at 200. So our budget right now is looking at what, like 1160? So about $1,200, and that's below my hard limit of 2,000. It's closer to my desired 1,000, so it's actually not bad. I'm not feeling too bad about that. So, all right, I just wanted to know that that's not part of the requirements process, but these are the things that we need to be understanding at this point because they're going to come into play. All right, so so there's our custom-built wooden cabinet. We know we're going to need some materials for that. We've got some plans that we're going to follow that tell us what to get, right? So he mentions in here the equipment that he needed, and yeah, some of the instructions, the screws. Doesn't really say like how many sheets of MDF, or is that what that represents?
Yeah,
is that
that's
one
one
sheet?
sheet. So that's a 4x8 sheet. So there's 3 of them there. So.
Okay. All right, good. So that's really, this is really handy. If we had to come up with this stuff on our own, can you imagine how bad this thing would look? How bad this could potentially look if we were left to our own devices. All right,
Tiki bar plans.
should have. The Tiki bar, I did see it. It's coming along nicely.
Yeah.
So, no, just for the record, the Tiki bar not for IT is something completely different. All right. So, cabinet graphics and overlays. Rob, you
Yes.
are our graphics designer.
Right. So the design I'm comfortable with.
Is there a print shop or somebody that can print that on?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could get it printed out.
So our estimated budget down here doesn't really include those overlays, so we don't really know what that's going to cost.
No.
So let me just put a little note down here for me that overlay graphics, unknown cost. So we need to do some research there. We know the sizes, and so we can probably reach out to somebody right now and say, you know, what's it going to cost to get that printed? So somebody's going to do a little more research on the overlay graphics. If they are inexpensive, well, we'll definitely do them. But I could see them becoming expensive if we do a giant overlay for the entire side of the cabinet.
Side, yeah.
So would we want that? I don't think he did that, did he?
I don't think so.
I think you just did the panel where everything was.
And the marquee, I think, as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So he did.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's up at the top of the
Right,
thing,
yeah.
right? And then there's the controls, and so his sides and stuff was probably just all black.
You know, instead of graphics on the sides, we could take it out somewhere and just like shoot it with paintball guns and have that kind of paint splatter, Vision Streetwear-esque kind of thing.
Like you did, like Jackson Pollock. You don't know your artists?
No? No?
He was an artist. He painted just by throwing paint at the
Okay,
wall.
well, we could do something like that to give
He
it.
was an alcoholic.
Oh,
He was
okay.
completely drunk.
Well,
True that.
All right, so this really turned out nice.
yeah.
And is that that's like a sheet of plexiglass laid on top of it?
correct.
Okay.
And there's the trackball.
And there's the trackball. So blue. All right. Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it?
Yeah, not too bad.
It-
Now maybe we could take like a ball mouse and flip it upside down and somehow modify it to where we can like enlarge the ball and just use the little sensors on the trackball on the little mouse, like an upside down mouse. And anyhow, all right.
Has anybody done that? I would want to do research. That's where you start to say, well, for $130, we get one that we know works versus experimenting. And maybe, hey, he's got that perfect bezel, and the speakers are mounted up there. Are speakers in the
yes.
parts list?
Yep.
Okay.
And speaker grills.
Ooh, I have grills.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So we're looking good there. So so let's see. What else do we have on our requirements? Budget, I've kind of already talked about a little bit. I got that put in here as a requirement. Time frame. This is obviously a leisure activity, so I don't really have a time frame for it. But as a general practice, I hate to leave things open-ended because you know what happens, right? They just keep getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and they never get done. And I want to film the project aspects of this to make it part of the project management professional training. The PMP training is going to be going through approval with PMI, and they said that takes like 2 months.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have this done by the time that approval is done, so it's one big package we can give out to our viewers, and it'll be cool. So today is May 21st, so let's set a deadline of, do you want to do end of July?
Sure.
End of July.
End of July? Now, obviously, if we can get it done earlier, the better, but if we say that's our target date, end of July, and then I can try and get PMI to approve our training by that same time, and we can kind of have it all coordinated. Is that,
Sweet.
Do you guys feel that's an aggressive schedule, or do you think that's a reasonable one?
Reasonable one.
Sounds pretty leisurely to me, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's just an arcade cabinet, right? I mean, you screw woods together, you put a PC in there, you put your
Now-
buttons in.
Now, Nate, you and I, we are comfortable with a soldering iron, and this kind of stuff doesn't faze me at all. In fact, I look at that and I think
Yeah, what a
I can do
nightmare.
it so much better.
Or,
But
yeah.
so I'm not worried about that aspect of it.
Rat's nest.
Rob, I have no idea what's involved in actually constructing the wooden cabinet. So does this seem like it's going to be how many hours of work do you think it's going to be?
Probably 12 with the shopping for getting the materials, getting them delivered, getting set up, cutting it out, assembling.
Okay, and we're not doing duration planning just yet, but it doesn't hurt to gather some of this data ahead of time. So 12 hours including shopping? Does that include like doing your hair before going out?
No, not getting ready.
Bring your purse.
All right, graphics overlays. Obviously, we'll come back when we do our schedule and reevaluate it. So for right now, though, I just want to make sure that we have our triple constraints planned for. So our requirements list we're working on now. Our budget I've lightly touched on by setting it as a requirement, and then I'm going to hit our schedule lightly here as completed by July. That's a 31-day month, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, close enough.
To do the little knuckle thing.
I'll put July 32nd. Should be completed by July 32nd. And we'll make that a primary. If we take much longer than that, then we've kind of wasted time and stuff. Now, we're going to have to order some of this stuff, Nate, and the equipment is weird equipment. This is not stuff you go to Target and pick up. So do you have any idea what the ship or lead time is on any of this stuff?
Most of it was 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay, so that's not bad at all. All right.
Not bad.
No Amazon Prime? Are you joking?
Yeah, I know, right?
And is there any point in worrying about the electronics before the cabinet is built?
Other than just testing stuff to make sure the buttons work and
So we can actually assemble it without the cabinet?
Yeah. You know, and the control surface, according to these plans, that is its own separate little build. So he built the control surface, he mounted in the buttons, and he tested everything. And then the control surface then attached to the cabinet with the monitor. So it was so it was like a 2-part little deal. So
Build a control cabinet first. Okay.
so we could do that, and then we could get. And so while you finish the rest of the cabinet, then Don and I, can drill, mount the buttons, get the wiring done,
Right.
that sort of thing.
Again, not a requirement, but something good for me to note down, and I'll work this into the other documentation as we move forward. So good information to gather. All right. Let's see. Let's just scan across our other requirements, see if there's anything we can come up with. I think we've covered everything we need about the wooden cabinet.
Right.
Is MDF wood?
MDF wood?
Is it wood or is it like some
wood
synthetic?
and resins together,
Okay,
yeah.
so we'll call it wood. Cabinet graphics and overlays we kind of talked about at this point. Authentic arcade controls, which it looks like we're going to be able to meet that pretty easy. The plexiglass screen cover, are we able to get plexiglass just at the regular store? Okay.
Yep.
Coin slot door, that'll have to be ordered. $100. Between the coin slot and the trackball, it's almost like 25% of the budget. It's impressive.
Yeah, I guess we could then delete 2 items to get a larger display.
These are the things we need to weigh. I almost feel like though that we need to have that trackball. That if you want that authentic arcade experience, I think
where your fingers get pinched at the top of the trackball fast, that experience.
I hate to move away from that one. The coin slot door, though, I think would be one of the first things to hit. I put trackball down here being the first to get cut if it comes to the wire, but honestly, the coin slot door doesn't affect your ability to play
Right.
versus this. So actually, I'm going to change that. Are you guys in agreement on that? Like that would kind of be the second. So this one would be first to get cut if it comes to the wire. All right, and we can revisit that as time goes on. But I'm thinking that you could almost just like get a picture of a coin slot door, print it out, and just tape it to the front of the daggum thing. All right, must support 4 players. I think that our spec here does it pretty well, so I'm cool with that. And it is an upright cabinet. We agreed that just the cocktail cabinet, the down one, that it's really just 2 people. It's not the same. All right. Contained.
And the footprint as well. So if we made a cocktail cabinet large enough that where 4 people could get around, let's say just 3 sides of it, it would end up being, it would be a pretty wide footprint. As we're an upright, we can get 4 dudes packed around it pretty easy.
All right. It's got to be guys, can't have women?
Oh, yeah, well, at first, we got to set all the high scores first.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so contains a PC to power games. Now, we haven't talked about this. Is I know that when I think of arcades, I think of the MAME, right, which is what, multi-arcade machine emulator.
Yep.
So the MAME emulator is what we're going to be running, and I know that it runs on Linux, Windows, OS X. It runs on whatever OS we choose to pick. What operating system are we going to be? I guess it doesn't matter. What I'm thinking is if we're running Windows, then we got to get a Windows license. But we have a PC that already has a Windows license, so we're fine there. What did that guy use? Do we want to do Linux? Would it be better? Or
I haven't given it a lot of research as to which one. Whatever really is open source or just freely available that we can run.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like we might need to do some more research though, because we want to do MAME. Do we want to support other platforms? Do we want to support like Super Nintendo or other ones?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It will be a growing project.
Do we need to make a list here of which ones do we want to support initially? Because this is going to be part of our acceptance factor. That if we don't support one of these, the project fails. So what do we need to think is a success? Is MAME the only one? Like what I mean though is at the end of this project, if we just support MAME,
is that enough?
Is it still a success? Right?
Yeah. Yes, I think so, because MAME, there's hundreds, thousands of games on there, and somebody should find something that they like.
Okay, so this way we don't really have to worry about the other ones. So to start, right, and we will add. And I'm writing this out because when we do our scope statement, we'll want to put exclusions in there, right? Things that we're specifically not going to worry about now, because you need to focus on getting the project done and not get distracted by other things. So we'll say we will add support for, SNES or Game Boy Advance or whatever at a later date. I think we got to add Atari, right? You got to do that. And I think that one's
TurboGrafx
allowed now, so because some of these, again, we have to research the legality. Some of these you're allowed to do, some you aren't. I think it's if the emulator requires a BIOS, you're not allowed to do it. But the way you can get around that though, is if we want to do PSX, if we want to do a PlayStation, I've got a PlayStation 1 at home, so we can take that and just stick it in there and not even hook it up. Like that's our license. We'll just stick that in there and so I'm sure there's ways around that. But for right now, we're going to support MAME.
Yep.
And so we're going to support MAME and public domain software to start. We'll worry about the licensing later, right? The licensed material, not getting licensed, because we want to be on the up and up. So,
right.
So we'll have a main cabinet with public domain software. Now, Nate, I've seen software out there, like Hyperspin comes to mind, which is emulator management software. We probably want that, don't we?
Yes, I think so. To get that real arcade feel, to where if we have to pull out a wireless keyboard and mouse to change emulators or to change games, that really does. Yeah, it really does break that feel.
Okay.
So something like a front end would.
Is that software free or does it cost money?
The front end is free, but then the ROMs that are compatible with it, it gets a little hazy.
As far as
everything else. So
Okay.
there's the front end, but what are you going to do with it when it's just a title screen? Not much.
But if we get the public domain games or whatever and you throw them in there and the front end is free, then technically all the software is free, right?
Technically.
Okay. And then the licensed software, which we've stated, we'll worry about licensed software later, so we're worried about public domain now. So, all right, so there's no cost there, but we probably need to pick, there's multiple front ends to pick from?
Just one.
Oh, there's just one?
Yeah,
Okay,
just.
Hyperspin?
Yep.
Okay. So, so the PC, and we don't want to entertain any other options. Hyperspin is the one for us.
I think so. I think we'll move forward with it, and yep.
If we do get that coin slot, can we make it receive like a an SD card, so that's where you load games
Oh.
into, like you slide.
Mm-hmm. I bet we could.
Maybe not in the scope of this
We could put
project.
smart card support in there, so you have to authenticate, and that way only employees can use it. Biometric scanner,
Yeah.
thumbprint.
Yep.
No way to remember your save games. All right. Okay. So we'll support Hyperspin. That's going to be our primary interface. So that's going to have to be a primary requirement. Contains a PC. You pretty much got to have that. The upright cabinet. That's a primary now. And must support 4 players. We said was a primary. What else? Authentic arcade controls. Got it.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
it. What else do we have here? Let's see, trackball support, and you know where I'm putting like first to get cut, second to get cut. I'm forgetting that I've got my priority column I should be using, to prioritize those, because really these optional ones would get cut before any of those secondary ones would get cut. So I should make use of my primary column. All right, some of these other ones. So must create an arcade-like feel. I think we've met that now with our other requirements, right?
Right.
So, all right, so I think we can get rid of that one, which that was the only one that had me worried, just because it wasn't something that you could measure. All right, so multiple trackballs. Definitely at $130 a trackball, I don't see us adding more trackballs, but adding potential support for it, right? So I'll add that in here, or support for it in the future. So maybe we leave space in the layout for where you'd insert those trackballs and whatever. The electronics that this gentleman has picked out, do they support more than one trackball?
No.
So there'd be new electronics involved.
Correct.
So
I'm kind of voting to drop that anyway.
yeah,
But just because with the 4 controllers and the elbow room while you're playing, and if you're it's already pretty squeezed.
I'm not
Start
keen.
spinning that trackball, you're gonna put your elbow in somebody's face.
Yep.
I'm not keen on buying extra hardware or replacing hardware just to support it too. So what do you think? Should we just knock out multiple trackballs?
All right. Yep.
All right.
We can back it.
All right. Light gun support, we flagged as optional. I don't really know what's involved. So there's sensors you have to get, and then does the electronics here support light gun?
Probably. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it's kind of a new project to
All
me.
right. That's fair enough. So I'll put down here, light gun support needs more research.
Yes, but it would be absolutely incredibly awesome, though, to have it.
All right. So we got our budget, our time, we got a list of requirements. Let's just open up. Can you guys think of anything else that we need to add in that would be a gauge of success?
I would say a better sound system, something with either like a subwoofer or some kind of shaker in there, to where, because like right now what's spec'd out are these little 4-inch tiny 8-ohm speakers that will just get the job done, and they're going to plug into the speaker port on the PC. Not that great. I mean, if you're trying to play like Cruising USA or something, it's not going to have the same kind of level. But if we had maybe an amplifier, maybe a powered subwoofer or something, to where you can really we can really. I mean, we're not talking about surround sound, just better quality. And MDF, right, resonates really well, right?
Yeah, that's what they make a lot of speaker boxes out of, or HDF. But is that going to actually go against our arcade-like feel? I mean, because I don't have any fond memories of great sound.
It's all having crappy sound, yeah.
Well, we're just whatever you said. Does anybody have anything else?
If we want arcade feel, we need to make like 20 of these boxes.
That's right.
Chaos.
All right, let's put it in here, the upgraded sound system, because I'm also thinking, how hard would it be to put a switch in to switch between crappy little speakers, and so that'd be pretty easy to do. But I'm going to list this as optional, because upgraded speakers, that would be, it'd probably have a decent cost. If you were to get like some Klipsch or whatever speakers, they'd probably run $100 or something like that. So we'll just put optional. If we can, we can. If not, it's not a big deal. I'll list that as optional. All right. Anything else, guys?
Maybe steering wheels, so we could play Ivan Stewart's Off-Road.
I played that game, but I played it with a joystick, not a steering wheel.
Really?
Yeah.
We had the foot pedal, he had like that little teeny tiny steering wheel that only had like that much throw into it, and you're just
I
like
do recall that.
slamming the
Yeah.
crap out of it because your truck's not turning.
That might be a reason not to do it. I don't know how.
So you had me at Cruising USA, but you lost me.
Oh man, that was a
I don't
good
know,
game.
your steering wheels, like, wouldn't it get kind of messy trying to mount steering wheels?
It would have to be like modular and have, maybe we could do like, but yeah, I mean, we'll just,
I think we might have to
be
build
another
a
one.
second arcade
Yeah.
cabinet at some other point, and that one might be the steering wheel one
right,
or
right.
something. I don't know. So, all right. Well, we'll hold off on that. I don't think I'm even going to put that in here as a requirement. I'm gonna. Not
enough.
even optional. I think we'll hold off on that.
at least we put down the light gun support.
Yeah.
And I'm good with light gun support.
If
so
we can make it happen, cool. I don't know much about the sensors. How do the light gun sensors work?
yeah, I don't know. It on the little picture, it just looked like a black cylinder with wires hanging out the end of it.
Because if we have that plexiglass in front of the monitor, and the monitor's got to be at a little angle, but the plexiglass might not be, and
There's probably some calibration involved, maybe some kind of tools, perhaps.
that probably needs more research. And so yeah, we've got that down here. It needs more research. So
Nate didn't actually request any LEDs, which is kind of unusual.
I know. I was going to, but yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. See, that will just be
All
like a
right.
surprise.
Yeah.
okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this information. I think we definitely got a pretty good start.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this, and after the meeting, I'll go and actually plug this into my requirements matrix here, because I just kind of went freehand to get this stuff together, and we'll get it put in the matrix, and it'll be in the matrix. And once it's in there, we'll meet again, because we still need to have our schedule meeting, we need to have our budget meeting, we need to start talking about our work breakdown structure.
Yeah.
So we know like materials and what we want. What's it going to take to actually achieve this? What work has to be done? And so that'll be another meeting for us. But I think as far as our requirements, we've got it. Everybody feel good about this?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good.
All right. Okay, so everybody out there, what we've done now is we basically drafted our requirements. Everybody had their input and feedback. You saw how some requirements came and went. Some went up in priority, some went down in priority. That's all part of the process, right? All part of the show. And I know that what we've got right now is just version 1.0. We're going to have to update this as we come up with new things, especially when we start identifying the actual work that needs to be done. We'll probably find some new requirements at that point. So our next meeting will be about setting an actual schedule and an actual budget. We got a lot of what ifs number-wise here. I want to nail that down, right? So does that pricing include shipping and stuff? This is all stuff we need to know. I want to know some actual numbers, right? So everybody's got some homework. Here's where we throw out the action items. A meeting with no action item is worthless. So Rob, if you can take a look at what those materials are going to cost as far as the wood, the casters, the screws, the glue, and come up with estimates of how much time that's really going to take you, and so on. So work on that. Nate, we need you to do the electronic side of it, right? Take a look at what the actual costs with shipping are going to be, and see if you can document the lead time on each one, so that we can track them. I mean, if 5 things can be ordered from the same vendor, just the lead time of that as a whole, but so we can put that in our schedule and track that. Ronnie, I think I'm going to get you to revise this document as the assistant project manager. So I'll turn this over to you, and you can just take this and plug it into the matrix. Now, the work breakdown structure, deliverables and stuff, just leave that blank for now. We'll do that after we actually create the work breakdown structure.
Sounds good.
And then I will... I'll drink a Mai Tai. It's my action item. So I'll sit back and review. So I think we're good. Let's have another meeting. We'll see when. How much time do you guys think you need for research, planning, and all that? A couple of days?
Yeah, a day or two.
Okay.
So it's Wednesday.
Let's do Friday.
Friday?
Friday.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll have another meeting Friday, and right before the long weekend, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Excellent.
All right, well, everybody out there in TV land, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Obviously not official training here, but we wanted you to get an example of what these project meetings are like and how they go. And we got a small enough group here that we didn't need a whiteboard or anything crazy like that, but it definitely gives you an idea of that process. So, all right, that's all I've got. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.